Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar this evening. We are so glad that you are joining us for our Wednesday evening final webinar in our Parent and Family Orientation Series. If you'd like, please let us know where you're coming from. Send some information in the chat feature there and tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and one thing you're excited about as your student gets started here at Temple University. We would love to get to know you all a little bit in the chat before we get started. We'll begin officially in just a few moments. I'd like to give everyone a few minutes to get in and get settled and join us all here on the Zoom webinar. So please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat, put your name, where you're coming from, one thing you're excited about for your students to join us here at Temple University. I see Lancaster is on here, very close to Philadelphia here. Some other Pennsylvania friends on the webinar here. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome. Some folks from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Allentown, Chicago. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here and joining us. Keep those introductions coming in through the chat. Love to see this. Delaware. We have Harrisburg. A lot of friends from Pennsylvania. Welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us, we're so glad that you're here. Please make sure you introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're coming from, what you're excited about for your student to do as they start their journey here at Temple very, very soon. We have some folks from the Poconos, Syracuse, New York. We have some New Jersey friends on the line with us here. This is wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us. So hello and welcome to the final installment of our virtual Parent and Family Orientation Series. Today's session is Welcome to the Nest, Supporting Your Students' Strong Start here at Temple University. My name is Brandy Jericho Beach and I am the Parent and Family Programs Coordinator for the Office of New Student and Family Programs here at Temple University. And we are so glad that you decided to join us. We would love to know more about everyone who is with us today, so please continue to introduce yourselves in the chat. Include your name, where you're from, so we know who's joining us. We have enabled closed captions for this session, so to view those captions, please click Captions, then select Show Captions. This session will be recorded, and the slides and links will be shared after today on the Parent and Family Orientation Hub. So the Division of Student Affairs plays a vital role in supporting your student success both inside and outside of the classroom through programs, services, and resources that foster student engagement, well-being, leadership, and personal growth. The division is committed to helping students thrive throughout their Temple experience. Today we are joined by Dr. Jody Bailey, who will share more about the Division of Student Affairs and the many ways it supports students during their transition to Temple, as well as Dr. Ryan Young from University Housing and Residence Life, and Craig Scott from Student Leadership and Engagement. Following their presentations, we will have time for a question and answer session for the remainder of our time together. We're going to get started with our presentations and our Q&A in just a moment, but there are a few announcements we want to share first. You've likely noticed that your audio and video are muted. You can see and hear us, but we can't hear and see you. So please submit your questions by using the Q&A feature. To do this, just click the Q&A button to open the window, then type your question into the text field. If you want your question to be anonymous, then just click the Send Anonymously checkbox and then click Send. Your question will not be viewable to the rest of the participants until it's been answered. We will share helpful links related to the questions that have been asked in the chat feature, so make sure to check the chat throughout the panel. We'll do our very best to answer as many questions as we can today, but if we're unable to answer all of the questions, we'll provide contact information at the end for you to follow up with us on your specific question. Okay, time for the presentations. I would like to very much welcome Dr. Jody Bailey now. Welcome, Dr. Bailey. It's so great to have you here with us this evening.
Hi, Brandy. Thank you for having me. Welcome, everybody, to our final webinar. My name is Jody, and I have the privilege of serving as our Vice President for Student Affairs here at Temple University. And on behalf of the entire university, I'd like to say thank you for joining us and for being a part of this webinar tonight. Over the course of the summer, we've had the opportunity to introduce many of the people, resources, and experiences that will support your students while they're here with us at Temple. And today's conversation brings all of that together for you. So as we prepare for one of the most important milestones for you and your family yet, your students' arrival on campus, knowing that you have people that you can talk to. What I will say is that if you are a first-time parent sending or family member sending your student away to college and you have a lot of questions and you don't know where to go, do not worry. You do not have to just stick with these particular topics if it helps you along the way. As I was coming home this evening, one of my very good friends is a first gen family member coming to college, and she had a lot of questions, and I was helping answer many of the questions that we will probably answer tonight. And so I just want you all to know that you are in the same boat as hundreds and hundreds of parents across the country right now getting ready to prepare to send their loved one into a new space. And so for many of you, move-in day has probably felt like a very long time coming, and now it's almost here. And your shopping lists are hopefully getting shorter. Hopefully, your suitcases are getting a little fuller, and the countdown has truly begun. And your student won't simply be preparing to attend Temple, they'll be living here and learning here and making friends here and beginning to build a life that is uniquely their own. And that is an exciting moment, but it's also a really significant transition for everyone involved. And so we want to acknowledge that for you. And so during our last parent and family webinar together, we spent time talking about the emotional transition to college and how your role as a family member evolves from doing things. Some of you may have had the opportunity to be on that call. Some of you may have actually seen us at orientation having these conversations. And today I'd like to build on the conversations we've already had by focusing on what's next. What should you expect during those first few days and few weeks, and why do they matter so much? And one of the things that we know from working with college students from the beginning is that the beginning of the semester sets the tone for everything that follows, right? And at orientation, we talked a little bit about this, those first conversations, those first roommate interactions, the first campus event, the first day of classes, the first time they successfully solve a problem on their own. And those experiences begin to shape a student's confidence and their sense of belonging and ultimately their successes. And students don't arrive already feeling connected here at campus. The connection is built one conversation, one event, or one relationship at a time. And that's why the various departments within the Temple's Division of Student Affairs put so much effort into the intention into those first few weeks. And so you will hear us talk often about weeks of welcome, and those programs aren't simply a calendar of events. And while it may look a little bit like organized chaos when they're going to different fairs and things like that, we are intentionally designing those opportunities for students to meet people, explore campus, discover resources, develop routines, and begin finding where they belong. And so research consistently shows that students who develop a sense of belonging early in their college experience are likely to persist academically, engage in campus life, and feel confident asking for help when they need it. And belonging doesn't just happen by accident. It's something that we intentionally create together. And that work begins the moment a student arrives on campus. And so that starts with move-in. And it's more than carrying boxes into a residence hall. It's often the first opportunity for students to meet classmates, their residence assistants, and the professional staff who will become part of their support network throughout the year. And those people live with them every single day. And so they will be there for them whether it is calm, whether it is nerve-wracking, or whether there is an emergency. And every interaction to us matters because it helps the students begin to answer one important question. And that is, do I belong here? Do I belong at Temple? And our goal is to make sure that answer is yes. And as families, one of the most helpful things you can do during that time is encourage that curiosity that they're going to have. It's really hard. It's really hard to release your children into the wild, thinking that they now have to navigate it. But encourage them to leave their room, to attend the weeks of welcome events, to introduce themselves to someone new, to eat a meal with people or others from different residence halls, to encourage your student to visit an office they're curious about, or that they really need to go to and they're too intimidated to walk on their own. Sometimes those small decisions, those one first steps that they take become lifelong friendships, leadership opportunities, internships, or experiences that define their college journey for them. And the first 3 weeks, as I've said before, aren't about having everything figured out. It's just about taking that first step. And just as importantly, remind your students that they don't have to navigate that alone, right? Whether they need help finding a building or a classroom or adjusting to living with a roommate, managing stress, getting involved, or simply figuring out where they fit, there is an entire community of faculty, staff, and fellow students who are ready to support them. And that's what our entire division is here to do. Our mission in the Division of Student Affairs is to help our students thrive, not only academically, but socially, emotionally, physically, and personally, right? It's not just about surviving at college, but it's about growing and learning and blooming into the new adult that they're going to be. And so today, my good colleagues and friends on this panel are going to help bring that mission to life. And so just a few moments, you're going to hear from Dr. Ryan Young, who is our Director of Residence Life, and who will walk you through what to expect during move-in and answer many of the practical questions that families have before arriving to campus. And then you're going to hear from Craig Scott, who is in our Office of Student Leadership and Engagement, who will share with you how weeks of welcome helps our students build friendships, get involved, and begin creating their Temple experiences from day one. And together, we hope that today's conversations leave you feeling informed, prepared, and excited for what's ahead. And I've said this before, and as a mother of two young men, I will say this again and again and again. Thank you for trusting Temple with your students. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for just spending time during this incredibly important chapter in your lives. We know that this is meaningful not only for them, but for you as well. And we're honored to partner with you and your families, and we look forward to welcoming your students home to the nest. And so at this point, I'd really like to turn things over to Ryan to begin our conversation about move-in and the residential experience. And if you have any questions, as Brandy said, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will try to address as many as we can as we go along. So Ryan, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Bailey. I really appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here. My team is actively in training and preparing for all of your students to join us next week and move into the residence halls and be a part of our community here at Temple. Next slide, please. So, the University Housing and Residential Life team is comprised of a number of individuals at various levels, both undergraduate, graduate, and full-time staff who are all here to support your students' experience. We have a variety of folks who have different roles, different resources to support them as they transition and learn to live in a new environment, often in an environment that they've never had before. Possibly with a roommate, which they've never had before. I know some of our students have shared with a sibling at home, but it's different living with someone that you might know. Specifically, in hall teams, we have a number of folks who are there to support. Starting at the most local level, we do have our undergraduate staff, which are our resident assistants and peer mentors who are on the floor. You'll get a chance to meet them during the move-in process because you'll be able to see them. They're going to be able to check your students in. They'll be in the halls, on the floor, welcoming you that day to get to know them. We also have our residence coordinators and residence directors who are our graduate and then full-time staff members who live and work in our buildings. So in addition to our RAs who live on the floors, we have these professional staff members who will be living in the facilities there to provide support resources with everything that's happening at Temple to be able to provide them connections. We also have some staff at our front desk, our residential operations managers and our office assistants who are valuable resources who will help your students learn to navigate their residence hall. They're a wealth of knowledge, can help answer questions about where to go on campus, how to get those packages that you've sent them as surprises, getting their mail. All of those things are right there in their residence halls. But in addition to my team in residential life, UHRL also has a maintenance team and a housing team that you likely will be interacting with at some point. Our phenomenal maintenance team really is in-house, and we take care of cleaning the residence halls, navigating all of those aspects with them, any repairs through our work order system. And our student staff can help your students learn how to submit those work orders as needed to get anything done. We really pride ourselves that we have our own maintenance and facilities team within housing and residential life. We don't contract that out like some other institutions. And so these are our temple staff as well. And we have tradesmen and other folks that work across campus with specialties to make sure that the students are needs are taken care of with that. They'll most likely get to know their custodians who are on their floor because they'll be taking care of those spaces on a daily basis. Our housing team is the other team that you're likely going to be connected with. These are our folks who will help answer questions about billing, room changes, assignments, and any questions related to the housing license. They're also the folks who sent you your move-in appointments that hopefully you receive those information and know when you are looking to arrive on campus. And we can provide other specific information for you as well. Most of my team are going to help you with those experience questions that you might have, such as roommate concerns that your student is having, homesickness, adjustment or transition issues to college, not sure how to get involved on campus, all of those things. My team of RAs, residence coordinators, and residence directors can really help out with. Next slide, please. So when students are living on campus, we really want to make sure that they understand that a lot of times folks will say, wait until you're in the real world. Well, our view is that college is the real world, but we want them to understand and learn how to navigate campus and how to work within that structure with support and resources while they have it. So we work with the campus and our divisional colleagues to create a safe and inclusive living environment for your student to live and grow. We do provide them structure and guidance to help facilitate this, primarily through the Student Conduct Code, which sets the standards for all Temple students. In addition, UHRL provides policies that further pertain to living in the residence hall that are specifically in our community living standards. Many of these community living standards are around safety and security measures, but also emphasize positive interactions for living in a diverse community. Our in-hall teams provide the most direct support, but we do partner with our campus safety professionals and TUPD as well. I encourage you to take time to review the Student Code of Conduct and the Community Living Standards with your students. The Community Living Standards in particular has a great list of prohibited items, so that way you know what your student is or is not allowed to bring to campus. So while we know that there are some things that we might just not think about bringing to campus, for example, candles. Candles aren't allowed in our residence halls and are a prohibited item. So that resource of community living standards is a really good one for you to connect with and read, especially for you as parents, family members to understand those as they move forward. Next slide, please. One of the pieces that we do want to also emphasize with many of you is that we know that your students are going to contact you for everything. They're going to contact you for the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that they're excited about. And we know you're their support system, and we want to partner with you to help them be successful in that. We encourage you to start those conversations. If you haven't already, start them now. You still have time. And how you want to communicate and support them while they're going to be away from home. Some of the suggestions that we have for you as to working with your students is, we know you'll want to jump into action. They're your babies. You're going to want to go in and say, okay, I'm going to solve this for them. But they just may need to blow off steam. They may need to kind of say, this is kind of what I'm going through. And it can be really hard for you to understand or to hear that. And we know that, especially if you're far away. I saw a couple of folks say that they're from Rhode Island. Someone popped in, said that they were from out of state as well. That's going to be really, really hard. But remember, this is a moment in time for them. This This is not their entire college experience, and it won't define everything about their time here at Temple. Emerging adulthood is tough and full of emotions, and they're discovering a lot about themselves. Developing new support networks, going through a lot of new and intimidating experiences can be really hard to watch your student go through and not want to fix it for them. We encourage you to support them, encourage them, listen to them, and empathize with their struggles. Discomfort is really where learning and growth happens. So not every challenge they experience is a threat to their well-being. And again, we know you will want to make sure that they're safe and you'll want to make sure that they're happy and whole, but discomfort can be a part of that learning process while they're here. We encourage you to ask if your student has spoken with their RA or RD, residence director, as a first step when trying to resolve a problem. If they say they have tried, but they can't get a hold of them, have them email their RD, copy you on it. If they don't get a response within 24 or 48 hours, have them contact a member of our leadership team in order to support them. Feel free to call our team and UHRL. We're happy to answer any questions. If your student is calling and just wants more clarification on a system or a process to better guide, we're happy to point them in the right direction. What we want to make sure is that we're not going to, we want to be transparent with the student. We want you to say we are partners in this together. And so we don't want to say, for you to tell us, not to tell them that you've called us and asked us to help. To be honest, that can be really challenging. It's hard for our team to go up to a student and say, hey, here's this resource. And they're like, why are you giving this to me? It's much easier to say, hey, your parents called. They said that this was a resource that might be helpful for you, and I wanted to make sure that you had that. That's a lot easier conversation for them to get behind instead of just someone from the staff all of a sudden knowing what's happening in their business. With that, let them know that you're going to call us, that you're going to assist them in helping to advocate for what they need in that moment and to resolve that issue. And so we're happy to do that outreach in collaboration with you. It just makes it harder when we get those "don't tell my student this" experience. It is likely that your student is also going to experience a lot of self-doubt, insecurity, feelings of overwhelm as they're navigating college for the first time and living away from home. You might feel some of those same things too, especially if this might be your first child who is heading off to college. They'll absolutely face challenge, and some of those will be in the halls if they're living on campus with us, but they're totally capable of making great memories through that experience. Even if it seems silly, emphasize with their struggles and encourage them to try again. Next slide, please. Most of you are probably wanting to know some of the nitty-gritty details about move-in. And so you should have received an email from our housing team that provides you a specific move-in date for your students. Move-in for most of our students will be next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. We do have some students who will be moving in a little early. They might be a part of an athletic team, a member of our marching band, or other groups that have made early arrangement efforts for those particular groups, and you would have received what date and time those move-ins are. All of our students do have a move-in time. We coordinate this, as one of my team members, Dr. Susan Rivers, who oversees our move-in process, says it is coordinated chaos. And so while there's a lot going on, we make sure to have everything ready to go. However, I want you to also be comfortable that if your appointment time is at 10 o'clock and you show up at 9:30, don't worry. We will help you get into the residence halls. You can check in. If you're running a little late, that's totally fine as well. The biggest request we have is if for some reason you're not able to make it on your actual appointment day, please make sure you call or email us, and we'll make sure you have the contact information so that way we can update our records and make sure that we're not counting your student as a no-show or something has happened with that. Our move-in guide, which is available on our website, is the most comprehensive document for students and families to be able to answer a lot of the questions. It has suggestions on items that you can bring to campus, items that you should leave at home. If you have questions about whether or not you're allowed to have certain appliances, one of the most common questions is, am I allowed to have a micro fridge or a microwave or a mini fridge? Absolutely, we do allow those. Microwaves are are not allowed unless you have a kitchen. Micro fridges, we have a rental program, but if you choose to purchase your own, it just has to be under 3.6 cubic feet as well. And so all of those questions that you might have about, is my student allowed to bring that, is likely going to be found in our move-in guide or connected to our on our website or our community living standards, the document that I shared earlier. This summer, we also hosted a couple of move-in webinars. While those had passed, just like this, they were recorded and put on our YouTube page. So you can access those as well to learn more specifics about those move-in webinars if you want to know more information. Students, when they arrive on campus for their time, will go directly to their building. Students should go to the check-in station and there'll be signage and staff all around to help them. Parents and families should stay at the car and start to unload the items because we do have a drop-off zone. And then once items are unloaded, you're going to move your car to a parking lot and then be able to help your student move into the residence halls. During move-in, we do allow guests and provide family members with wristbands to be able to access the building through security. And so we will provide a member for all of that. While we don't have a limit on the number of folks who can assist a student moving in, just remember, there's a lot of folks moving in. You and your student's roommate may also have family, and if they're in a suite or an apartment, there may be other people there. So that might be something that you need to consider as well when you're figuring out who you want to have join you with us. Next slide, please. One of the other components that we often get questions about is information about my residence hall. Where can I find out what these dimensions and sizes of the residence hall are? What's the address and mailing address? All of that is available on our website as well. So you can take a look at that website. You can do a virtual tour of the hall if you haven't had the opportunity to do that, or be in person to see our residence halls before you arrive next week. But all of those are on there. The website will also have information to be able to show you the how to address those packages and mail. We do encourage you to actually send packages using UPS or FedEx, because those vendors will deliver directly to the halls and to our front desks for our staff to navigate. If you send it through USPS, the U.S. Postal Service, that will be picked up by the main university campus, and then it's routed to University Housing and Residential Life. Then it is routed to the individual residence halls. Then it is routed to the student. So there's a delay when you send information through USPS. So if you're sending a package, we highly encourage you to use those vendors that you may be used to. Again, FedEx, UPS, DHL, those types of things. Next slide, please. A couple of requests and reminders as you're preparing. So one, we want to make sure that you work with your student to have their emergency contact information updated in TU Portal. This is under the self-service banner area of the TU Portal, and you can select personal information and ensure that those details are there. This is really important for any student, not just those who are living on campus. So we really highly want you to do that, because if there is something happening with your student, we'll check that emergency contact information on who we should be connecting with to be able to talk with you about your student. We also really encourage you to complete the FERPA waiver. This is a waiver that allows our staff here at Temple to discuss more specific information with you about your student. If we don't have this waiver on file that your student has given us permission to talk about those things, there's limited information we might be able to provide you or give to you about that situation. This specific waiver can be found under the Student Tools section of the TU Portal, and then you would select the FERPA waivers menu and fill out the required information in there. Also, want to encourage folks to make sure that they're checking and reviewing their next steps in TU Portal. We have about 800 students who still need to submit and complete their vaccination records in the Student Health Services portal before they arrive on campus next week. Students who don't have either their records on file or a waiver won't be permitted to check into their residence halls. So please ensure that your students are working with Student Health Services to do that. Students have received a number of emails, both from Student Health Services as well as from UHRL about the steps they need to take, the links that they can use to do that, and with access that. Another reminder that we would like to give in order to help you make sure you have everything ready to go for check-in is to ensure that you have taken care, your student is taking care of their OWL card. So we have a number of students who still need to upload their picture and information in order in our system to get their official TUID or OWL card. And so please be sure to do that before next week. There's information on the OWL card website about what needs to be done and how to download that so that way it is prepared and ready to go before your student arrives to our check-in process. And again, just another reminder, consider what you're packing for your student to come. They don't necessarily need everything when they come next week. There are some items that they might be able to keep at home until they come and visit you later in the semester or mid-semester and bring it back with them. We also encourage you, we know many of you are buying brand new items and bringing them with your student. Consider unboxing those and leaving some of those trash items at home. Not only does it help provide more space in the car because you don't have those boxes, it helps reduce the trash in the halls for our team and allows our staff to be able to move and clean things quicker during the move-in process. We also encourage your student to connect with their suite mates or roommates or apartment mates to be able to determine are there shareable items that they can bring. You'd be surprised how many people show up and have two TVs in a single room or two things that you really don't need when they could just have that kind of conversation about who's bringing what and responsible for those items. Next slide, please. And lastly, on this slide, just have a couple questions for you. Or if you have questions, you can send them to us via email. You can call us. We also have social media, Instagram for you on there that will have questions and links as well of all of the things that are happening. But again, my team, as well as the other units within University Housing Residential Life, are all here to support you and your students' experience while you're joining us here at Temple. So with that, thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague now, Craig, to talk a little bit more about weeks of welcome and student leadership and engagement.
Feel like moving information is the perfect segue into what I'm about to talk about, because of course this is what they'll be doing once they get here. So in the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement, we offer a variety of experiences within campus programming, fraternity and sorority life, our service immersion programs, leadership programs, and clubs and student organizations, really to help your student cultivate a sense of belonging and community and truly feel like they belong at Temple. Currently, our office is home to over 400 student organizations, including recognized fraternities and sororities from 4 councils. We always get questions about fraternity and sorority life, so I'll go ahead and specify those 4 councils are the Interfraternity Council, or IFC, the Multicultural Greek Council, or MGC, the National Pan-Hellenic Council, or MPHC, and College Pan-Hellenic, or CPH. Each of the varying councils has their own intake or eligibility requirements that will be made extremely clear to your students as soon as they get to campus. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later once we get into weeks of welcome. Our service immersion and leadership programs give students an opportunity to have a truly meaningful impact within the local Philadelphia community, especially our service immersion programs is a spring break focused engagement that allows students to participate in a highlighted service project in an area of critical need specific to the city of Philadelphia. And our leadership programs look like a variety of things, what is mostly highlighted by our Inclusive Leadership Conference, which happens annually every February, and it gives students to interact with other institutions from all across the region, as well as their professionals, in a day that teaches them about active leadership. Our office, along with Temple Student Government, which serves as the student advocacy voice on campus, and the main campus program board, who really plans the fun, provide a lot of ways for your student to get involved outside of the classroom, as well as specifically within the organizations. Also allows them to build genuine community and attend some amazing events. You'd be genuinely surprised how many students we come across 2 years down the line that say, I met this person at my first event during Weeks of Welcome, and they've been my friend the entirety of college. And those students become involved in our office, and they take advantage of our leadership opportunities and become truly committed to being fully holistic, well-rounded, and engaged Temple Owls. And we love that. That's what we encourage, and that's literally the intention of everything that we do. If you go to the next slide, please. I couldn't pretend to as eloquently speak about Weeks of Welcome as Dr. Bailey did earlier, but I'll do the best I can just to again highlight Weeks of Welcome as it is truly the first opportunity that your students will have to engage with everything that the teams in both student leadership and engagement, as well as new student and family programs, offer. Once move-in happens, I think the link to the website for the schedule has been dropped in the chat, but it's also here again to emphasize to see the full event calendar and more details. You can visit welcome.temple.edu, or specifically our Instagram marketing will go live tomorrow. So you'll get an additional look at that at TU Involved on Instagram. And just to highlight a few of the signature Weeks of Welcome programs that you'll see right away, specifically for our parents or targeted towards our parents, our Welcome Nest programs happen on both August the 18th and August the 19th, which is just an opportunity for us to intentionally welcome you all to campus and start to make Temple feel like your home. One of the things that I brought up earlier that I would reference again is our large scale student organization fair called Temple Fest. We have a wide variety of those 400 plus clubs and organizations I referenced earlier represented at Temple Fest. And students will be able to engage with those organizations that they could potentially be interested in. I also want to make sure I emphasize that if your student is looking for a particular club or organization that fits their interest, our clubs and organizations do cover a wide variety of just general interest, hobbies, or even career specific interests. But on the occasion that the thing that they're looking for is not currently offered, they have the opportunity to start their own club. We accept new organizations all year. They're very simple requirements for registration and entry, and it's accessible for students to be able to do. Also, if you wanted to look at some of the student organizations that we offer in advance with your student should currently have access to our student organization platform called Owl Connect, and that is accessed via Suitable. They should currently be able to log into that platform. That's the home and hub for all of our student clubs, organizations, and we even use it as our event check-in system. So familiarize yourself with that, help your students get familiarized with it, and we're sure that they'll have an amazing experience with us, starting with Weeks of Welcome from August the 18th through August the 29th. And with that, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Craig and Ryan and Jody. Thank you all so much. So now it's time for our panelists to answer your questions. Please post any questions you have in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen where you see a question mark. And then if we can stop sharing the screen, that way we can see our panelists a little bit better. And our first question is there a schedule, Craig, for Weeks of Welcome events online? I know that the email, or excuse me, the online link was put into the chat already, but I know a few folks are wondering exactly how they find out exactly what's being offered and when.
So the best source currently as of this evening will be the welcome.temple.edu page. There is a tab there that says events. You'll be able to click and see all of the things that not only our office is offering, but other offices on campus that plan events during the window that also fit the spirit and intention of Weeks of Welcome are able to highlight their events there as well. So that's the best place for that currently, but also we will start to intentionally and heavily market Weeks of Welcome programs literally starting tomorrow on social media, primarily at the TU Involved Instagram page.
Thank you so much, Craig. So Ryan, the next question is for you. Folks are wondering if a student has early arrival and their roommate isn't moving in at the same time, does that allow them to have many more family members there to help them with move-in? Is there a limit to how many family members can come and help students move in and get settled?
No, there is no limit. You can bring as many as you want. Again, when your student comes up to the check-in table, we'll ask them how many folks do you have with you, and we'll give you that number of wristbands to join. But again, we encourage you to consider how many folks you are bringing, just due to the volume and size of the space. They are residence halls rooms, so they're not gigantic spaces to have an entire full family, and extended family and friends and all of that. But that is something that you can make the choice on your own, and we don't provide a specific limit on how many people you can bring.
Ryan, if I could also add that I always used to say to families, it's also a very emotional time. It's also the middle of the summer, and so it is hot. It is going to be crowded, and there are lines and elevators. And so if you have a great Aunt Mildred who is wanting to say goodbye, it might be better the night before so that you are not trying to get water for her and get your student up into a room. And so I would be thoughtful about the team that you are bringing with you, because it's going to be a long day, and you have to love your family enough and whomever is with you so that you are still loving them at the end of the day. So just be thoughtful about who you bring, who's able to carry a box, or who you may need to be carrying by the end of the day.
I love that, Jody. Thank you. Good advice. Okay, Ryan, you mentioned this already, but could you share again how early folks can access the residence halls on move-in day?
So each student received a move-in appointment time. We really do encourage you to try to stick to the time that is there. Again, as I referenced earlier, it really is a coordinated chaos. Being in an urban environment, in streets and all of that, we try to navigate and manage how many folks we have coming in and out of the area during specific time frames. Move-in, we won't be able to start checking folks in until after 8 a.m. Our team needs to actually get set up, be prepared, and ready to go. So I really encourage you, for those folks who are like, I'm going to get there early and be there, be prepared to sit and wait, because I need my team to be ready to go to assist you and help you and get everything coordinated on our end, in order to have that happen. We do coordinate specific floors of the building around the same times, and so folks may be moving in around the same time. So those folks who are on the 6th floor, for example, of Morgan South, will all be moving in within kind of the same hour period. That does help us with the flow of traffic and know where we're moving folks in and that volume of people there. It's not necessarily going to be an exact same time for roommates to come in. They could very well be at the same time, but they'll likely be within the same hour block, unless somebody has reached out and requested a different time with that. So hopefully that answers those questions.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Craig, for students who are moving in on the 20th, will they miss much of the programming for Weeks of Welcome? Are there other things available for them for the 20th and moving forward?
Honestly, the 20th might be the perfect window for them to really catch all of the keynote things that will especially be offering during the first week. But I also just want to make sure that I emphasize that the Weeks of Welcome experience also extends into the first week of classes as well. And we've intentionally built the schedule to include some of our truly signature traditional events in the second week as well. So students who are moving in beyond the 18th and 19th really don't have to worry about missing these significant things, as they are intentionally built into the schedule to be accessible to as many students as possible.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Craig. Ryan, another really popular question that parents and families ask is about meal plans during Weeks of Welcome before classes begin. How does that work? How are they able to eat in the dining hall during that time frame? Do the students pay for the meals themselves? Is it covered by the meal plans? Can you explain that a bit more?
Works. So the regular meal plans don't actually begin until dinner on Saturday after move-in. So we do coordinate with our partners in Aramark to provide all first-year students a Weeks of Welcome meal plan. That meal plan will start on Tuesday morning for any first-year student moving in. So even if your student isn't moving in until Thursday, we preload a Weeks of Welcome meal plan specifically for them. If your student is arriving on early arrivals day, which is Monday the 17th, or again, if you're arriving earlier than that because you have an early arrivals with band or athletics, those groups coordinate meals on their own for early arrivals time. But starting on Tuesday morning, your student will have access to our weeks of welcome meal plan for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for lunch or for breakfast and lunch. That meal plan, it allows them to access the Johnson and Hardwick Esposito Dining Hall. It does not allow them to use retail swipes. Starting Saturday night, when their regular meal plan is when they would be able to utilize those retail swipes. So that's how the Weeks of Welcome meal plan works. You don't need to do anything. It's automatically loaded onto your student's account. They just tap at the dining hall with their OWL card in order to be able to get in.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ryan. So we have another question for you. And a family member is wondering if a student has a pre-existing medical condition, do they need to personally let the residential staff know, or is that something that's handled through student health services?
Yes, actually, we encourage you to connect with our colleagues in our Disability Services and Resource Office, DRS. They would be the folks who would be able to make sure that your student has any appropriate accommodations noted. Our office works very closely with DRS on anything that we really need to know about. So if your student does have an accommodation or something that our team needs to be aware of, they manage that and communicate that directly with us. You, of course, can share that information if you choose to self-disclose, but it's not necessary because, again, if you've already worked with disability resources and services, they're going to give us the information that's pertinent to our team to be able to support that. That team can support your student, whether it is an accommodation that they need for an existing issue or disability, but they can also help for short term. So if you have a student who encounters something such as a broken ankle and is needing to navigate access and things on campus, DRS can provide some support and direction on accommodations that might be a little bit more short term as well.
Thank you so much, Ryan. We have a question about packages, and I just wanted to let folks know that in our Howard Giddis Student Center, we do have an Amazon locker there that is available for all students to utilize, and there are instructions on how to use that on the New Student Family Programs website and the Parent and Family Experience portal. But Ryan, can parents and families also send packages directly to students at the residence halls?
Yes, Amazon does deliver directly to our front desks, so it is treated just like any other package that they might receive from FedEx or UPS. The Amazon drivers will come and drop it off at the front desk. Our residential operation managers and office assistants will log it and notify your student that they've had something delivered for them, and they can come pick it up. If it's small enough, it might get put into their mailbox. But most of the time they have a package notification. They come and tap at the front desk so that way they acknowledge that they got it. So Amazon is another great way to have it delivered directly to the halls without a delay. We are already accepting packages for our students for this year. So if you're looking to have something sent, you can go ahead and already have those. The residence halls are already taking them, starting to put in and log all of those packages that we've been receiving. Your student will receive notifications during the year for during times that we stop receiving packages. So over our winter break and towards the end of the year, we will let folks know when we are no longer accepting packages, so that way things don't get lost in translation and something gets sent and you're like, where did that go?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ryan. So this question is for everyone or anyone, and that is, can you speak about a student life for commuter students specifically? Can they join all of the activities for Weeks of Welcome and beyond? And just a little bit more about what is life like for commuter students at main campus?
Sure. So I'll start that conversation for us, Brandy, and then I'll ask everybody to jump in. And so we celebrate our commuter students. We love having them here with us. We work very hard to ensure that they have the same activities, the same resources, and the same services. And so all of our activities on or off campus that are sponsored by the university are open to all students. You do not have to live on campus in order to go to the weeks of welcome, to attend the big event, the university-wide events. You do have to be signed in with somebody if you are a commuter student to be part of the residential life programming, because some of those are geared specifically for our residential students. And Ryan can talk a little bit more about that. But in general, all of the things that Craig has talked about, all of our clubs, our organizations, our athletic events, all of that is open to our students. A couple things that I will say in particular about our commuter students is that our student center, that our Howard Gitta Student Center is open for late hours so that our commuter students can spend time on campus. We are creating resources through things like partnerships with Uber, through our TU police department, and through our campus shuttles so that they can come back and forth to campus safely. I would also say that if the commuter student is living at home with you, to have some conversations about what it means. It's a little bit different to be a college student than to be a high school student living within the home. Their friends are going to maybe stay out later. Events that they might want to attend could be later, and really setting a tone of expectation for what does it mean to live in the same space, but having somebody who is going to be an adult in that space with you. The other thing that I would say to you for our commuter students is that we have commuter lounges, and our essential needs hub, which is in the first floor of our student center, which allows space for students to be able to access services, have quiet spaces to study. Our library also open for extended hours. But if you're a commuter student who is renting off campus and is not living with a family member, a couple things that I would like to remind you about. And Brandy, if we could put this into the chat for us, is double checking your landlords and making sure they are a part of our Best Nest program and doing some research behind the place that you are renting from. We have many landlords who are friends and family of the Temple community. And when I say that, I mean that they are part of our Best Nest program. They agree to be good landlords. They focus on health and safety of our students. But there are people who are out there that also do not appreciate the community that our students need to live in and are really kind of renting out there to make money. I would say, please do your research. Please do deep dives on the locations that your student is going to be living in before you move into that location, because they will have backgrounds. And so do the research before you are renting a property before you move them in, because it is much harder to hold people responsible for the work that they're doing if they are not part of our Best Nest program. We are an incredibly urban area, and so we do not oversee our off-campus properties. And so I want to make sure that you have done all of the homework that you need to do before you entrust your student to live in some of the housing that might be in the surrounding area. And then lastly, before I release it to Craig, we also have really great organizations that our Greek and fraternity life organizations are really phenomenal. Another really great way to connect inside of our community, and they too are off campus. What I would say for our commuter students, and actually for all of our students, is that we are in an urban institution, right? And I say this all of the time. We are in and of the city of Philadelphia. And so whether you live on campus or you live off, it would be thoughtful to review all of the safety precautions that we have through our Temple Police Department, through our TU Safety app. We have escorts, we have alert services. Please do the homework beforehand to have conversations about how and what it means to live inside of a city, and to be thoughtful about the role that they play when they are coming and going from campus. Ryan and Craig, did I miss anything for you?
No, I just wanted to make sure I supported what Dr. Bailey said by highlighting that our office especially intentionally highlights our commuter population and does things specifically to support the fact that our commuter students, we know all of our commuter students won't be on campus super late at night and available to do some of the larger scale things that we would do in the evening. So we plan a significant amount of it to happen during the day and in between classes, things that they can stop and grab something and go wherever they're going if they have to leave campus quickly. We make sure that we intentionally save space and do what we can to make our Temple students feel like a true part of the community.
It's wonderful. Thank you all so much. So, Ryan, we've had quite a few folks ask if you could please walk them through the exact process for moving. What does it look like from pulling up to the curb to unloading that car? What logistically really is the day going to look like for parents and families?
So, as I referenced earlier, you're going to drive directly to the front of your student's residence hall. We have worked with TUPD to block. It's all no parking zones. So even though typically there is street parking around campus during move-in, all of that is prohibited. So that way we have enough space to be able to have folks bring in their cars. You will be directed by TUPD, our safety officers, to pull up on a curb in the specific area where your residence hall is. Again, we're going to ask that your student go to the actual check-in table. That will either you'll be able to see directions. There's going to be signage pointing them in the right direction where to go. They'll need their OWL card in order to check in. They'll receive their key, any other information that they might need that is specific to their building. So some buildings have an extra tap card that they need or a hard key. So it really just depends on which facility that they're in. They'll get that there. They'll get those guest wristbands that I referenced as well. So we'll ask them how many people that they have with them and that they need, so that way we can provide those to your student to then distribute to everybody in your group. And then we also have a cart checkout that your student will be able to check out, a big kind of laundry bin, if you will, to be able to load all of your stuff in and then take it into the specific residence hall space and room, and then you return the bin to us at the end. We do encourage you that once you get your parking pass, we do only issue one parking pass per family. So if you're bringing multiple cars for your student, you will be responsible for parking that other car and for paying for that. But we do cover the cost of parking for one of those cars. Also, personal little plug, if you're having to bring multiple cars of stuff, that's probably too much for a residence hall room. So consider not bringing multiple cars packed with stuff, because that probably won't fit. It'll be tight in your car. It will be tight in the residence hall room as well. Um, Guests during move-in are permitted with your wristbands until 9 p.m. And so you will be able to work with your student to stay. Some families choose to, make sure things are good and then head out for the day. Other families want to hang around. They want to see the activities, kind of tour campus themselves. You can absolutely do that if you want. But that's really up to the family's preference on how you kind of navigate that. Our guest process and guests will be able to be registered starting Friday at 10 a.m. Students will receive all of that information via their TU email account, how to register guests, what that is. And again, our guest policy, all of that information is located in the community living standards document I referenced earlier.
Thank you so much, Ryan. We've had quite a few folks ask in the Q&A feature about Homecoming and Family Weekend, and I'm so glad you asked. We are currently planning a really, really wonderful week for our students and for our families who visit us that weekend. I'm putting a link in the chat right now. We're hoping to have the website live very, very soon, so keep checking back. We will definitely announce it on the Parent Family Experience portal once registration for all the different events becomes live, but we really do hope that you will join us. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, we are quickly running out of time, but last question for our panelists. Quickly, if you could please give our parents and family members on the call one final piece of advice that you'd like them to leave with before move-in day.
I think I would say that you don't have to have everything figured out, and that this is going to be new. And living in the gray is hard, as you all navigate, but it is going to be okay. I used to run distances, and I always say if you can run 1 mile, you can run 2. And if you can run 2, you can run 3. But you can't train for a marathon in one day. And so pace yourselves. Make sure you know that it is okay to have good and bad moments, and to remember that your child is growing and they are not going to be, they're not little anymore. And so that you have to grow with them so that they can grow up.
think for me, I just always encourage families to encourage their students to engage. There will be a lot happening immediately once they arrive to campus. And honestly, I could completely acknowledge that it might be overwhelming for some folks, and we totally understand that. But just want to emphasize that everything is challenged by choice, but they are welcome. So feel free to encourage them to engage as much as they're comfortable. And even if they aren't completely comfortable right away, there's plenty throughout the semester that they'll be able to do, so they don't need to feel the pressure to jump out of their comfort zones right away. But we encourage it.
A lot of what was going through my head are the same things that Dr. Bailey and Craig also shared. You don't have to have everything. There's still going to be a lot of questions, but remember, there are so many folks here on campus who are there to support you and your student in their experience. And so while there are just three of us, kind of speaking for you today, there are so many staff within our division and even other parts of the university who want to see your students succeed and want to be there and want to be a help. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for that help, because you're going to get it. You're going to find the folks are really wanting you and your student to be successful, and take advantage of all the people who really care about the students here at Temple.
Thank you all so much. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. That hour went very quickly. But thank you so much to our panelists, Ryan, Jody, and Craig, for joining us. You will see their contact information on the screen there if you'd like to reach out with any other questions you may have. In addition, we'll be posting the recording to this session in the Orientation Hub in the Parent and Family Experience portal shortly for your reference. This was the last webinar in our virtual parent and family orientation series. Please visit the Hub by scanning the QR code that you see so that you can see the recordings of previous webinars. I want to thank again our panelists and to all of you for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we will see you all next week at Move In. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.